Hello, my name is Gishnider, and I'm presenting my project 5 for COP3330C. And in this project, we are dealing with Java collection, Java collection collections, and applying a number of interfaces and frameworks into the collections class that I'm currently presenting right now. And in this case, we are allowing the user to input words and then manipulate those words via sorting or shuffling, and allow them to also perform searches on those lists. Along with it, we also have an application that will convert a list into an array and vice versa. So basically, the person is going to put down a series of words, and the program is going to apply them in a number of different ways via sorting them, shuffling them, putting them in a specific order, picking out different words. There'll be more in-depth details about this as we go into it, but the gist of it is just that we're going to be messing around with a list, basically. So we have our different inputs. We have an array list, collections, comparator, lists, scanners. So obviously the scanner is to read the user inputs. List is for list usage. Comparators to help us with sorting. This one will be applied in a series of ways, but the basic matter of it will help us put words in according orders. Collection will be used for a number of utility methods. There's quite a bit of them. And then we have our array list for arranging a list of items. So to start off, we obviously have our public class, which is collection, and then public static void main, which is basically acts as the start of the program for us to interact with the user's input and perform those operations. So we start off with our list, our list string, which we defined as vocab, and then we apply it to create we declared it via array list to declare a list of strings to store the inputs. So basically, for all our inputs, they'll obviously come into the form of a list. The scanner will check each of these inputs and allow us to apply them accordingly. Our print line starts with us prompting the user to put down 8 different words, in which afterwards the for loop will allow the user to put up to 8 words in total. And mind you, at a later point we'll talk about it, but basically there will be certain applications that will make it so you can't use duplicate words. So it'll be 8 different words for the user to use, or else they'll keep on going over and over again until you actually put a proper word. We have a term here which is string grammar, which will be used to declare a variable to hold each entered word. And then obviously a boolean, which is no duplicate. This will flag to check if the word's a duplicate. This will be applied in an interesting way later. So for the do while loop that we use, this is what we use to apply to make sure there's no duplicate words. So it will print out the enter word, and it will prompt the user to enter a word and it will prompt the user to enter a word, and it will take the input of accordingly from that. Obviously, the scanner will do its job, taking the word, checking over it, and then no duplicate is the method that would check if the word is already in the list. So if you use the word like hope twice, even if the set of uppercase and lowercase letters used are different, if the characters and letters each are the same, then it should catch on. And it will achieve this via the method we apply here, obviously. So basically, if you do apply duplicate, it will state the word is a duplicate, please use a new word. And if that is the case, it'll keep on repeating the loop until the word isn't a duplicate. When that happens, we'll add it to the list of words that are being applied. Then it will print out another list of words. Printing it basically will print out the list of words that you've entered. It'll have an enhanced for loop to go over the list to check over it, in a sense, at least as I best understand it, and then print each word afterwards. Continuing on, this will print out the total number of entries on the list, which basically will be 8 in this case. This will apply technically will apply 2 of the packages we have up top, which is the collection one, which via collection max, and a comparator. So basically this one and this one. And by those two working together, a number of things happen. For one, the comparator basically will compare all the words that we have on the list. In this case, via by the length, so the number of characters being applied to it. In the process of that, the collection max will choose the longest word of that list, and it will print it out. Collection min basically does everything alongside what it was doing with the comparator, but it would choose the shortest word. So we also have collection sort, which will be used to sort the list, an enhanced for loop to go over that list and print each word. In this case, it'll basically put it into a proper setting, most likely alphabetically. So this one is a bit different. It would output as another list that's being sorted, but it'll be sorted based on the length of each word. In this case, from longest to shortest. So obviously it'll show listed sorted by character length. So whatever was the longest word you chose, it'll be first, and then it'll keep on going down until you get your last word. Enhanced for loop to check over it, and then it'll print it out. And then we have a collection shuffle. This will randomly just take all the words you have, put them in it'll jumble it up, and then it'll put it in whatever order listed down. It won't be alphabetically, it won't be by length, it won't be by any other factor. By chance, it could end up in a way that it ends up being sorted alphabetically or by length, but it's minimal. It should be at random, like you're just choosing words out of a hat and putting them down, and it should output it that way. And then we also have the system out.print, which will enter a word to search for. So in this case, once a bunch of other stuff is taken care of, it'll ask you to type down a word from the list. And based on the word you choose, will determine whether it will find a word on the list, or it will tell you that you're not using the right word and you have to use something else. So in this case, you put down a list of words, and it'll ask you to search for a specific word based on the previous inputs you put down. So if you put like sun, day, or hello, and you put a word like bye, which wasn't on that list, then it will notify you saying that it wasn't on the list, which is here. It won't say the word that you had is not found. If you do put down the word, obviously it will tell you what the word is and where it can be found in the index, which is basically being defined here. So then we go down, we talk about finding the max element, the min element. This is basically applying the collection max and collection min, and this is it will take the max element. In this case will be, since it's doing alphabetically, it will be basically the more in-depth letters. So the max in an alphabet would probably be Z, while the min element would be A. So basically, if I chose the word like atom, and then I chose the word like boo, then for the max element, it will probably show up as boo, and then the min will be atom. And then we obviously have our conversion of a list to an array. Obviously, we set it up to be equal via the toArray method, and setting it up to be via new string. And then it'll show up the array of words. In this case, it doesn't show it as obviously, but the application should be different to a list. And basically, it'll print each of them. And then this method will convert the list back to an array. The method is not that much different from what it was earlier. If anything, this is basically an application of what was done at the beginning, where we basically notified it to be a list anyways. And then it'll print it down and bring it to it. And then we have the scanner, which we'll close. This is to prevent, overuse of resources or any type of errors that may pop up through continuous use of the program. Then we have our methods that will check the words in the list. This is basically our ignore case. So in this case, it will check for duplicates, make sure that we don't obviously take those duplicates. It will check to see if any word matches, and in doing so, if the word does match, take care of it, deal with it, notify the user, and tell them to do something else, which we talked about earlier in this program. Basically, this is the background individual that does the job. And in this one, this is the method that will search the word that you type down. If you type down a word that is on the list via the search method, this method is what's going to be used, and if you don't, it will notify you accordingly because of that case. So the last section asked us to tell the difference between collection and collections. And the resource I used to help me find this in better detail, the textbook wasn't as much help as I expected, was geeksforgeeks.org with the specific URLs being applied. So essentially a collection is an interface that represents a group of individual objects. And this interface is basically what is used to set up our lists, our sets, our queues. And for the most part, it's essentially basically everything you put inside the system. Collections are the utility classes that define the methods we apply. So basically the sorting methods, searching, the shuffling, basically everything we applied inside the system via static methods. So essentially the objects we apply are basically there to be set or used, and then the collections basically apply them in a way to let them be outputted in different versions or forms. So an interface is essentially a blueprint of a class, telling us what to do but not how to do it. Basically, it gives you a job, but it won't give you specific instructions on it. Traditionally, this is only via abstract methods, basically methods with no body, so not much touch into the output. The class is the blueprint for the objects, which can then be instantiated, thus allowing them to be created and utilized within the program. In other words, they can be created. And then obviously there's a number of other differences, but these are the main ones that define the differences between collection and collections and interface and class. Now, it's a matter of seeing if this program works. So, obviously I'm going to start up the program. And this is going to take a minute. Okay, so obviously it says enter 8 different words. I'm going to keep it simple. Hello, bye, good, nice, huh, oops, let's see, way, road. And it will provide them as a number of lists. So the list of words that we put down match up with what is already here. So it's going to be a little bit bigger. It tells us the entries is a total of 8. It tells us the longest word is hello, which is 5 characters, and the shortest is bye, which is 3. And then a sorted list that basically is, in this case, is alphabetical. Obviously, B, G, H, N, O, R, W. So this is sorted alphabetically. This is sorted by length, with obviously, as stated earlier, hello being the longest word, and in this case, bye, way, and huh being the shortest. So there was a 3-way tie. And then this is the shuffle list that shows no real order to it, but obviously it shows that the shuffling worked. So then it asks us to search for a word. So in this interesting case, if you were to type a word that didn't belong, say I put, let's say class. It will say word class not found. Only does it once, but basically that's what it tells you. If I was to probably restart it into a different application, that might need to be checked on. Let's put a new set of words. Let's see. Let's say I put the word good, and I put it again. It shows good as a duplicate. Please use a new word, and it doesn't have to be the case of me applying it with the same uppercase or lowercase. I can put good with an uppercase G, say the same thing. I can make everything all caps. Same thing. And to move on, let's just try keeping going. Bad, smile, frown, let's see, happy, happiness, expert, no, and yes. Now, earlier you saw when I put a word that didn't belong to the list, it told you that it wasn't on the list. Now let's do one that is on the list. So I choose the word bad. So basically it shows the word bad found in 1. So in the sorted list, bad is found in 1 here. That's what it's identifying. And then it shows the max element good. So probably G being the furthest word here. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G being the farthest one here. And then the closest was bad, with B being the second letter of the alphabet. And then it shows the array of words and a list of words. Not much difference, but the application is different from behind the scenes. So, based on my understanding overall at least. So that basically is it of it. There may be more aspects that need to be applied, maybe more iterations that I may be missing, but the overall application is based on what I understand, and I hope you enjoyed the video that I showed today. Thank you and have a nice day.